How's it going, Lone Riders? Andrew here. This week we're going to talk about how we develop and manufacture products for the new 1300GS. Let's check it out. So if you're new here, we develop products, we show you our processes, and then we post them here on YouTube. We get feedback from you guys, we read the comments, and then we can integrate that loop back into the product range. So if you see something here interesting, or you want to sound off about something that we should do, then do leave a comment down below. In the description there's a link to the newsletter, and there you can sign up and get notifications when we do post, or you can also subscribe and click that bell icon too. Let's just jump into it. So since the new 1300 came out, there's been basically a massive sprint to get products onto that bike. So there's a lot of phases to that, but within 2.5 months we've basically kitted the bike to the point where we are receiving samples now. I'll show you where we are at the moment with the sample ranges and stuff like this, but we can go through each product and check it out. This is what we're doing. First, we've got the top box up the top here. That's a big product. We've got a large and a small. Of that, I'll come back to this later. We've got the quick release, so you don't need pannier racks to attach bags to the bike. It just clips straight on. Much nicer system. It's got no racks, so it looks really good for the GS. But there's also we also developed our own racks as well, specifically for the GS 1300 quick release system. We changed the MotoPegs to make them work on the 1300, so they're good to go. They're shipping now. The racks are also shipping. By the way, the Rackless is in product development. Side stand extension here, that's a platform to make your side stand larger so you don't dig into the sand and the bike falls over. That's in production now. We've been testing that. It looks great, really nice. We've got radiator guards. Some bikes come with them already, but we've designed something into them that makes them much better, and that is a removable system, so you can actually remove them, clean behind there, and get all that grit and dirt out, all those bugs, and really get in there and make sure that the engine is cooling. So that's cool. We've done upper and lower crash bars and skid plate. That's pretty cool. I'll make another video on that, I think, pretty soon once we have the samples ready. We've got the lights that's in works as well. So here, they're still under wraps right now. We're still working on that video. Hopefully we can start talking about that pretty soon, but it's pretty exciting, pretty good, and pretty bright. So stoked about that. We've got the headlight guard that's in the works right now, the headlight guard for the 1300, but it's quite complicated. The headlight is a very interesting system, so we've got to try and kind of save it or bring it back into something that looks awesome. Quite difficult to do. We've also done side rear view mirrors there. This is a prototype concept here, and the design is based off the side stand extension, or the foot pegs down here, but we've got some movement, so you can adjust it and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to look into this a bit further in the future, but that's also in development. So the first thing I want to talk about is the top box, the Moto case. So we've got Moto case large and Moto case small. The Moto case large is 63 litres, and the Moto case small is 46 litres. These are screenshots here, but we've actually made them. There's one sitting right next to me now. But I'm going to let Alex show you that. He can make it much better than I can. He's got the nice cameras and the nice lighting and all that stuff to really show it in its true form, because it looks awesome. I'm very happy with it, super proud of it. And it's solid. It's really solid. It turned out way better than expected. So he'll show you the real life. So do subscribe, hit that bell icon as well, and it'll be posted soon, very shortly, in fact. Down the bottom, we've got the rear rack plates. These are two different types. We've got 1300 on one side and 1250 on the other, but we've got KTM, Honda. We're working on a lot of bikes so that this fits on many different bikes. So these rear rack plates are essentially interfaces between the bike and the top case. So we need to connect them somehow. These will be fixed on the bike, and then you can remove the top case here. So we are at the shipping stage now. So we are finishing up production. Well, it's going to be ongoing production because of the size of this thing. It's quite labor intensive to actually make it all waterproof. I'll come to that in a minute. But yeah, we are at shipping stage, the first batch. I'll leave when it's going to be launched. I'll leave that also to Alex to explain the price and shipping delivery dates and that kind of good stuff. But basically the big process is here. Down here I made a sketch of the product, and then we made a cardboard concept of it, made a metal prototype of it, and then we went into tooling. So yeah, it's a big process, CAD, like 3D printing and cardboard designs. We did prototyping, we did metal prototypes, and then tooled prototypes of this product. And this development cycle is a year long, so quite quick actually, but we've got a solid product. This is the images from the quick release system, but it's essentially the same concept for the top case. This is some photos from, I was in the factory just recently. This is some photos from inside the factory. The top image here is a CAD image, but we're just assembling all the lock plates. We have to assemble everything. This is a few images of how we get the side and tops delivered before QC. You have to QC them internally, make sure they're good, and if they're not, we send them back to get recoated or refixed or reworked. Got the inner liner here. It's really nice. We're the first to do that and to make such a deep draw on that. So I don't think anyone else has ever done that before. We went through about 10 or over 10 different suppliers. They all said no, and then we found one supplier that thought it may be possible. So then we had to teach them how to do it. So we had to teach them how to do the deep drawing and make this EVA kind of fit around special molds. It was quite complicated to do. One of the hardest part of this whole project actually, but it came out amazing. It looks really good inside, and it does what it does. It protects your gear. So pretty cool about that. We've got 2 metal panniers here, and these are just not coated. They're just factory prototypes. These metal panniers, what we're going to do is we're going to produce the black one first, and then we'll get feedback from you for the silver ones if you want that or not. We've got some like automotive bonding agent here. This is the quite good stuff. This is really expensive, but we put all this good stuff on the production series because it needs to hold, it needs to be waterproof. So this is the sealer and compressor between the lid and the top box. So each one of these each cycle is about half an hour to produce this. So once they close the mold, injection, I'll show you the tools in a minute, to close the mold and they inject the plastic in, the time it takes is about 2 minutes to 3 minutes before they have to open the mold, and then they put it onto a jig, which is kind of like to make sure it doesn't warp, to keep it in place, and then they put it in water to cool down. And then they go through the cycle just to keep it all square, because if it's not square, it's all bent, it's going to leak. So, it's going to be hard to install. We've got 2 riveting machines here. Invested in another 2, so a total of 4, so we can increase productivity. Next image here, we've got the guy up there riveting. We've got the internal dimensions of looks like the large here. We've got a net up the top there, but that's essentially on the left here. We've got a measuring machine. It was actually a video, but I just screenshotted it. What we do is we measure the thickness of the coating because we want a consistency across the board. So it depends on the day with the stuff. When it's too humid, it affects the coating. When it's not humid enough, it affects the coating. When it's too hot, it affects the coating. When it's too cold, it affects the coating. So it's hard to get a consistent production finish here. So we check everything, and if it's not good enough, we send it back for a rework. On the box. So when you do get your box, you can scan this with your phone. Just open up your phone app or your camera app and scan that QR code. There'll be a link in the bottom there, and it'll go to the web page where it'll have your own language. It'll have English, French, German, and Spanish. We do this because we can keep updating the documents. So if someone has a question or we see a question coming back over and over, what we can do is just add that to the instruction manual or video and solve that problem for you. So we're going a little bit away from paperless, but for a good reason. So these are the tools. These are hundreds of thousands of USD, euros worth of tooling here, what you're looking at. And the reason why is because it's such a big part, the big parts, It's a lot of metal there, a lot of machining, a lot of finishing work, a lot of man time. But our tool makers are some of the best in the world. And they've been in it for 20 years, and so we're pretty happy with the results of our plastics, because it's quite hard to make consistent plastic parts in this scale, in this large piece, and we're doing nice finished products as well. It's easy to make just anything, but to a high level it's difficult. So they lift this up essentially. They lift this up and drop it into the injection molding machine, and you see some pins there that are ejector pins and some massive cavities. That's basically what's inside here, and then we inject this. You see the plastic part here that's injected into it. We've got some side corners here, and these are the edges on the bottoms there. So this is all the tools. This is just a few tools. We've got tools for everything. One of the things we had to do was waterproof the box. You want a waterproof box. So you can see here they're testing the waterproofness of it here as well. So every rivet gets a O-ring. So there's a seal. Every corner gets this industrial automotive glue, and every hole gets this kind of plastic ring around it, and everything gets sealed. Everything. It's because water has a really nice tendency to just get in everywhere, even where you don't think. So at the moment we put this automotive bonder agent through by hand at the moment, but once we have a stable production and we start scaling, we'll just get a gasket machine, automate this, and it gives it more accuracy, saves on material costs as well. But yeah, we by hand, everything's placed on. Every little part is by hand. We have to seal. Quite labor intensive, but at the end of the day, we get a waterproof box. We redesigned all the keys to fit, so your key will fit with the most of the major brands. Specifically, you can rekey it to your other bike as well, or your existing bike key. Specifically for the BMW, I think there's also KTM works as well, but we'll detail that on the website later. You can rekey it for your own key or rekey it for the other products you buy from us, so you can have one key for everything. So we're bringing that in now. A lot of work there. We custom designed that, and we had to make our own system here. We had to make all the tooling for all these leaves here, all the pins, the springs and everything, because the quality we found wasn't good enough. So we also have the hinges here, so they hold. They call them torque hinges, so they got pressure. When you open the box, it holds the lid in place. There's no piston or anything there. Gas strut that holds it up. You can see here there's nothing holding it really. It fits one adventure helmet and one normal size helmet in different formats. With the inner liner, it's a little bit tighter, and with the comms as well. So, but it depends on your head size. If you have a massive size helmet, you might fit only one in there. But we are going for the extra large size, my size as well. To fit one peaked helmet in there and one normal helmet as well, because the Pinion generally has just a non-peaked helmet. So yeah, this is the next product is the Moto racks. We made racks for the 1300. Came out awesome. I'm going to flex my weld in a minute. The rack system is good to go. We're shipping that soon, so you can buy racks there, and then the MotoBags fit straight on there. No adjustments needed. And then we're also developing right now Rackless system, so there's no racks. You just put the MotoBags straight on there, which is pretty cool. I run with those, and they make the bike look much lighter, and it is much lighter, and it just looks great too. And it's just like user friendly. It works really well as well. These are my welding before they're powder coated, before they're finished, before they're electroplated and powder coated. We put a lot of effort into this. There's a specialist welder. So when you're manufacturing, there's different factories have different skills. So there's factories that do everything, but what we do is we just pick it all up, ship it to the place where they do it the best, and then we ship it to the next place. So, for example, all the bending and cutting, we go to the best. They set it up. We send those parts to the best welders, and they weld it, and then we take them again and move it to the finishing. And then we move it again after that to the packing and QC section. So yeah, it's a labor intensive. We've got to pay for every time we ship that across hundreds of kilometers. It's expensive. But what we do is we end up getting all the best from every stage, because if one stage fails, then it's just a disaster. But I'm happy to say that we've got better welding than most OEM companies, BMW, Honda, all that. It's all hand TIG welded. So it's all done, by hand. This is on the right side. We invested a lot more into the jigs. So this is a checking jig. So there's jigs to weld together. This is basically a machine or a test jig to make sure that it's going to fit the bike. Because there's nothing worse than receiving a product, being hyped about it, wanting to go on a trip, and then it doesn't fit. So we invest a lot into making sure that it fits. There's so many tolerances. We're not going to get it every time. Different bikes, different there's differences everywhere. A lot of things can go wrong, but we're pretty confident that we can nail it on the accuracy. Our welds and our finishing is pretty awesome. Pretty proud of it, actually. Better than I expected. Again, because it's hard to do. So yeah, this is our finishing here. We've got this nice matte finishing on the powder coating. Our electroplating is also in sync with most of the crash bars that you see on bikes. The colouring there, the finishing. And for the laser engraving, we're doing laser engraving for the silver, and then we're putting a sticker on the black. So yeah, that's the Moto racks. We've also got side stand extension, stainless steel. This is just sampling that I've got, so you'll see the proper product with Alex. He'll show you, but essentially what we've done is we've come around and clamped onto the side stand. BMW side stand for the GS is quite small, so we're clamping on top of that. We're putting rubber here as well, just to stop this rattle, and also so these screws don't fall out, because that happens sometimes if it's not done properly. And yes, we will be removing the security Torx here, but there's some glue included in that, so you make sure you put lots of that glue on, leave it for 24 hours to cure, and you're good to go. That's another product that is in production now and will be on the website for sale very shortly. Our MotoPegs have been updated. They're finished. We're shipping them now. They've been updated and they are going to be available for the 1300GS. So we've updated the composites as well, much stronger than before, but they were already good, but we're just improving all the time. Adaptive pegs are good to go for the 1300. Good reviews about them, a lot of people are happy with them, and they increase comfort and accuracy and changing gears, and just a better overall ride. So we've got a few other products here. We've got the radiator guards. We've got the radiator guards here, and they had this concept a long time ago. One thing I found, I always had bugs just behind the grill, and I couldn't get it. You had to basically take off the whole fairing system to get there. So we designed in a kind of like clip-in removable quick release system. So you just remove this, you clean behind it, get all the mud and dirt and bugs out, so air gets in there and cools the engine properly, and then you just clip it back on. We've got also the rear view mirrors. These rear view mirrors are on hold for right now, but we've got a prototype working, and the concept, we'll actually make a video about that and see what you guys want specifically here. Lights, the last phase here, we're really good. We're in testing, and just testing out the certifications needed and all this kind of good stuff, but I'll make a video pretty soon when we are allowed to release that. But that is moving along, and they are pretty amazing, pretty happy with the results as well. That's coming out of the lab, and hopefully in a month or so we can start sharing this and also opening up pre-sales and getting that moving. Headlight guard, we all know, it's a big discussion online about the new headlight guard, the matrix system, so I'm working on that as well. If you have any ideas what we should do, let me know in the comments down below. The crash bars and skid plates, we have sampling all done for that. We are going to do a fitment soon, very, very shortly, and that product there is awesome. So there's an angle that we've got here. This is a HTP skid plate at the bottom, and that will basically mean you get a lot more, it absorbs the impact massively and also slides across stuff, not digs into stuff. So there's a lot of benefits to that. That's why we went this way, but we're going to up the game here again, and do it a little bit differently as well. So just not basically folding and welding. So it's several parts. We're gonna look at another way to do it. It's got sliders on this crash bar that can be removed as well, and so you can just have the steel part. But yeah, super hyper aggressive and high end crash bar system. So we'll have proper images soon of that, and we'll make a specific video about that just to give you feedback. That's it. Thanks a lot, guys.